Issued on October 18, 2023. The committee is meeting to consider 9 legislative measures. I note the presence of a quorum. But before we begin our meeting, I just would like to take a moment to welcome the newest member of the Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee, Senator Butler. Welcome to the committee. We're very pleased that you're joining us, and we look forward to working with you in the months ahead. Welcome. Next, I'd like to thank Ranking Member Paul and his team for their work on this markup. We appreciate you and want to recognize Ranking Member Paul for any opening comments.
I'm good.
Ranking Member Paul defers, and I know a number of members have to attend other committee hearings, so I want to move quickly. And I would ask members if they wish to make statements if they could do afterwards, but I did have a special request from Senator Langford for a brief comment. Senator Langford, you're recognized for that.
Yeah, I just want to be raised. We're covering a lot of bills in this markup, and I do appreciate we're going through in the cooperation to be able to go through these. There's a bill that we're not doing on this markup that we had requested on this markup, and it's a bill that Senator Hassan and I have together on preventing government shutdowns. This is a bill that she and I worked on 5 years ago to find a nonpartisan way to be able to solve the issue of government shutdowns. This bill has passed this committee in previous sessions and it had overwhelming bipartisan support. At the beginning for Senator Hassan and I, we started this by saying we need a nonpartisan way to solve the issue of government shutdowns. And then when we requested to get it on this hearing, we were denied the right to be able to have it on this particular markup time. We want to be able to have this as soon as we can. If there's any time to talk about shutdowns, it's right now. We should be talking about how do we actually put an end to government shutdowns. So I would like to be able to get this on the next possible markup, be able to have it. I know there's some interesting conversation right now about the 1% sequester and how that would interact. CRS is telling us that's not an issue, that's a red herring. And so we want to try to get this on a markup. At least I want to try to get this on a markup. I'm not going to speak for Senator Hassan, but this is a bill that we'd like to be able to actually get a hearing, to have debate, to figure out if this is not the way we're going to end government shutdowns, let's figure out the way that we are going to end it. But one way or the other, let's solve this. And a committee conversation is the place that it would happen most often. So I'm eager to be able to have an open dialogue about how do we actually fix government shutdowns.
Thank you, Senator Langford, and we are going to continue that discussion. You have my commitment to do that. We will now proceed to the consideration of S 2087, and I ask unanimous consent that the committee consider the Peters substitute amendment to S 2087 as the underlying bill, and without objection, so ordered. For over 4 decades, the Congressional Award Program has provided well-deserved recognition to tens of thousands of young Americans who demonstrate strong initiative, service, and achievement within their communities. The Congressional Award Program has inspired over 8 million hours of community service, and currently over 40,000 youth participate in the program in all 50 states and in over 300 congressional districts. I'm proud to say that 5 young Michiganders received their gold medals this year, which is the highest award and honor available through the program. And I appreciate the bipartisan efforts of Senators Lummis and Manchin to move this legislation forward. I urge my colleagues to support the swift reauthorization of this program to encourage voluntary public service and personal development. The substitute would make the program's reauthorization retroactive to the lapse and prevent a lapse of the program's authorization starting October 1st of 2023. If there is no further debate or amendment, the question is on final passage of S 2087 as amended. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Carper.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Hassan. Aye. Senator Sinema.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Rosen. Aye. Senator Ossoff. Senator Blumenthal. Aye. Senator Butler. Aye. Senator Paul. Aye. Senator Johnson.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Langford. Senator Romney. Aye. Senator Scott. Aye. Senator Hawley. Aye. Senator Marshall. Aye. Senator Peters.
Aye.
Senator Sinema. Aye. Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 13, the nays are 0 on the vote by proxy, and for the record, only the yeas are 2, the nays are 0. On this vote, the yeas are 13, the nays are 0, and the motion is agreed to.
Motion's agreed to. We will now proceed to the consideration of S 2150. I ask unanimous consent that the committee consider the Peters substitute amendment as modified to S 2150 as the underlying bill. Without objection, so ordered. The Unity Through Service Act is led by Senators Reed and Young and would establish a whole-of-government approach to military service, public service, and national service. This bipartisan initiative would establish an interagency council on service to promote collaboration across government agencies with expertise in each area of service, enhance the coordination of resources, and share best practices. The bill would also improve the information provided to individuals transitioning out of the military or AmeriCorps about their other service opportunities. It's based on the recommendation in a report from the National Commission on Military, National, and Public Service with the goal of encouraging millions of Americans to begin participating in service each year. I thank Ranking Member Paul, Senator Hawley, and Senator Scott for working with my office and the bill's sponsors to strengthen this text. The legislation is modified by this bipartisan effort, adds transparency and oversight mechanisms through reporting requirements, factors in privacy considerations for joint marketing initiatives, and references additional service of experts to support the Interagency Council on Service. I would urge my colleagues to support the bill. Does any member wish to offer an amendment? If there's no further debate or amendments, the questions on final passage of S 2150 is amended. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Carper.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Hassan. Aye. Senator Sinema. Aye. Senator Rosen. Senator Ossoff. Senator Blumenthal. Senator Butler. Senator Paul.
No.
Senator Johnson.
No by proxy.
Senator Langford. Senator Romney. Senator Scott. Senator Hawley. Senator Marshall.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Peters.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 11, the nays are 1. On the vote by proxy, and for the record only, the yeas are 2, the nays are 1. On this vote, the yeas are 11, the nays are 1, and the motion is agreed to.
Motion's agreed to, and we will now proceed to consideration of S 2685. I ask unanimous consent that the committee consider the Peters substitute amendment as modified to S 2685 as the underlying bill. Without objection, so ordered. I'm pleased on this bill to have worked with Senator Langford on the Reuse Excess Property Act to help agencies better leverage excess personal property and in the process save taxpayer dollars. I also want to thank Ranking Member Paul and Senator Hawley for working with me towards a bipartisan compromise on the modified version. As the single largest purchaser of goods and services in the world every year, federal agencies routinely dispose of excess personal property that could be repurposed for other agencies, resulting in waste. This bill introduces transparency and accountability measures to ensure excess personal property is not wasted. These measures include public reporting and guidance on disposal and repurposing measures. This bill would also require agencies to designate an employee responsible for managing excess personal property to maximize the reuse of items. I urge my colleagues to support this bill and help save taxpayer dollars. Does any member wish to offer an amendment? Seeing none, and if there is no further debate, the question is on final passage of S 2685 as amended. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Carper.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Hassan. Aye. Senator Sinema. Aye. Senator Rosen. Aye. Senator Ossoff. Aye. Senator Blumenthal. Aye. Senator Butler. Aye. Senator Paul.
Aye.
Senator Johnson.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Langford. Aye. Senator Romney. Aye. Senator Scott. Aye. Senator Hawley.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Marshall.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Peters.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 11, the nays are 0. On the vote by proxy, and for the record only, the yeas are 4, the nays are 0. On this vote, the yeas are 11, the nays are 0, and the motion is agreed to.
Motion is agreed to, and we will now proceed to the consideration of S 3067. I ask unanimous consent that the committee consider the Peters substitute amendment as modified to S 3067 as the underlying bill. Without objection, so ordered. For years, stakeholders have provided feedback that the way FEMA implements the cost-effectiveness requirements of its hazard mitigation grants, known as the Benefit Cost Analysis, BCA process, is cumbersome, it's overly complicated, and puts small and under-resourced communities at a disadvantage for applying for federal funding. This feedback was also part of findings in reports from the RAND Corporation and the Government Accountability Office. To address these issues, I've introduced this bill with Senator Cassidy to require FEMA to consult with stakeholders in order to evaluate how to simplify its cost-effectiveness requirements for hazard mitigation grants and report to Congress on that evaluation. The purpose of the hazard mitigation is to reduce the loss of life and property by lessening the impact of disasters. By streamlining the process to access mitigation funding, this bill will help communities achieve resiliency in the face of worsening natural disasters. This bill will still require hazard mitigation grants to be cost-effective and meet all other grant requirements, though just through a more simplified process. This bill has been endorsed by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the Build Strong Coalition, the National Association of Counties, the National League of Cities, the National Emergency Management Association, the International Association of Emergency Managers, the Association of State Flood Plan Managers, and the National Hazard Mitigation Association. I would also like to thank Ranking Member Paul for his input into this bill. I have worked to incorporate several of the ranking members' filed amendments into the substitute amendment and hope to gain his support as well. Does any member wish to offer an amendment? Seeing none and no further debate, the question is now on final passage of S. 3067 as amended. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Carper.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Hassan.
Aye.
Senator Sinema. Senator Rosen. Senator Ossoff. Senator Blumenthal. Senator Butler. Senator Paul.
No.
Senator Johnson.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Langford. Senator Romney. Senator Scott. Senator Hawley.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Marshall.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Peters.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 10, the nays are 1. On the vote by proxy, and for the record, only the yeas are 4, the nays are 0. On this vote, the yeas are 10, the nays are 1, and the motion is agreed to.
The motion is agreed to, and we will now proceed to the consideration of S. 2414 and ask unanimous consent that the committee consider the Sinema substitute amendment as modified to S. 2414 as the underlying bill. Without objection, so ordered. Is there any further debate or amendment on the bill? Seeing none, the question is on final passage of S. 2414 as amended. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Carper.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Hassan. Senator Sinema. Senator Rosen. Senator Ossoff. Senator Blumenthal. Senator Butler. Senator Paul. Senator Johnson.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Langford. Senator Romney. Senator Scott. Senator Hawley.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Marshall.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Peters.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 11, the nays are 0. On the vote by proxy, and for the record, only the yeas are 4, the nays are 0. On this vote, the yeas are 11, the nays are 0, and the motion is agreed to.
Motion's agreed to. We'll now proceed to the consideration of S. 2866. I ask unanimous consent that the committee consider the Peters substitute amendment as modified to S. 2866 as the underlying bill. Without objection, so ordered. The Improving Government Services Act would require federal agencies that provide critical services to adopt customer service strategies that actually help them to better deliver results to the American people, saving the public hours of time that they spend on hold or from waiting in very long lines. The bill would require these agencies that are high-impact service providers to report on their annual customer service strategies and identify solutions for reducing administrative burdens, streamlining agency services, and addressing backlogs. Reducing backlogs and improving the delivery of government services like passports and veterans benefits are just a few examples of how this legislation could help make the lives of Americans better. Several agencies like the Department of Veterans Affairs have already started implementing certain customer service strategies required in this bill. leading to increased customer trust and satisfaction at the agency. Using these agencies as examples, my bill would extend improvements government-wide. And I'd like to thank Senators Langford and Cornyn for joining me on this legislation, and I'd also want to thank Senator Hawley for his work on this effort as well. My substitute amendment makes several technical edits and changes to address colleagues' concerns, ensuring transparency in service delivery when automation is involved. I would urge my colleagues to support this bill, and does any member wish to offer an amendment? Ranking Member Paul.
This bill takes an executive order, which sounds good on the face of it, wanting to improve customer service. Who could be against that? Makes it permanent law. The problem is when you look at the details of what the administration is currently doing, you see that it's actually part of implementing the woke Biden DEI and climate policies without statutory authority. You don't have to take it from me, though. You can look at the actual executive order from the Biden administration to see what we're talking about. It says that customer service needs to be improved when, among other things, advancing equity and tackling the climate crisis. Hardly things you'd consider when you're thinking about people waiting on the phone for a long period of time. Passing this bill will permanently ratify those efforts and tie the hands of the next president. So I'll be offering Paul Amendment 7. By making new permanent law, this bill would make it more difficult for future presidents to change the Biden dictates. Adding a 2-year sunset will give Congress a say in what the rules look like in the future and let the next president have a say and not be stuck with Biden policies.
In my response to, we're going to be now considering Paul Amendment 7 to S 2866. This amendment requires GAO to conduct a study on the bill's effectiveness and adds a 2-year sunset to the bill. A GAO report would be duplicative of OMB's role in ensuring compliance of this act, which includes a requirement for OMB to submit annual reports to Congress on its recommendations for customer service improvements across the government. Additionally, a sunset of only 2 years would prohibit agencies from measuring their customer service strategies from year to year. This sunset would remove agencies' accountability in ensuring their customer experience goals are accomplished. I would urge my colleagues to oppose this amendment. Seeing that there is no further debate on the amendment, the question is on adoption. All those in favor of the Paul amendment will say aye. Aye. All those opposed will say nay. Nay. Majority of members having voted in the negative, the nays have it. The amendment is not agreed to. Does any member wish to offer another amendment? Ranking Member Paul.
This is Paul Amendment 2. This amendment would require the agencies to use existing funds instead of new funds to implement the changes and ensure that DEI and climate change alarmism is not part of the these efforts won't replace the customer experience. So instead of having money go towards things that really have nothing to do with whether you're waiting on the phone with a federal employee to get to you, it would make sure that the current mission of actually trying to provide customer service would be the main thrust of what goes on with this bill.
We will now proceed to consideration of Paul Amendment 2 to S 2866. This amendment would add language that prohibits additional funds from being authorized for the purposes of carrying out the bill. This amendment would remove the possibility to fund implementation of cost-saving customer service strategies. The language would block agencies' ability to implement improvements to key government services, and I would urge my colleagues to oppose the amendment. If there is no further debate on the amendment, the question is on its adoption. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Nay. The majority of members having voted in the negative, the amendment is not agreed to. Does any member wish to offer another amendment?
Paul Amendment 8. If this bill is really about improving customer service, my amendment gives the committee the opportunity to provide real accountability. If agencies fail to live up to their customer experience, if they're not answering the phone, if they're not doing the things that we want them to do for customer service, they would actually have to fire 5 senior employees and replace them with staff who directly interact with the taxpayers. We should not continue to reward poorly performing bureaucrats with high-paying government jobs. Instead, agencies should terminate those positions and reallocate the money to individuals who actually help customers.
We'll now proceed to the consideration of Paul Amendment 8 to S 2866. This amendment would require agencies who don't meet their customer service goals to fire 5 senior employees and reallocate their salaries to other junior employees. Firing employees because agencies don't meet their customer service strategies would have a chilling effect on the agencies and would discourage them from creating what we hope are very ambitious goals to improve customer satisfaction. Additionally, this amendment would incentivize employees to create strategies that would shield themselves from termination rather than focusing on actually improving customer service for the public, and would urge my colleagues to oppose the amendment. If there's no further debate on the amendment, the question's on its adoptions. All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed will say nay. Nay. The majority of members having voted in the negative, the amendment is not agreed to. Does any member wish to offer another amendment? If there's no further debate or amendment, the question is now on final passage of S 2866. As amended, the clerk will call the roll.
Senator Carper.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Hassan. Aye. Senator Sinema. Aye. Senator Rosen. Senator Ossoff. Senator Blumenthal. Senator Butler. Senator Paul.
No.
Senator Johnson.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Langford.
Aye.
Senator Romney. Aye. Senator Scott. Aye. Senator Hawley.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Marshall.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Peters. Senator Peters.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 10, the nays are 1. On the vote by proxy, and for the record, only the yeas are 4, the nays are 0. On this vote, the yeas are 10, the nays are 1, and the motion is agreed to.
Motion is agreed to. We will now proceed to the consideration of S 3029. Does any member wish to offer an amendment?
Yes.
Ranking Member Paul.
I have Paul Amendment 6. This amendment, as modified, ensures a balanced and thoughtful approach to providing the financial support system for the families of deceased federal employees. Specifically, this amendment with the second-degree changes would require agencies to notify the Comptroller General within a reasonable time frame following a death gratuity payment of payout.
Mr. Chair.
First, we will now proceed to the consideration of the Paul second-degree amendment to the Paul Amendment 6 to S 3029. Any member wish to speak? Senator Sinema.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I just want to thank Senator Paul and his team for working with us to get to the place where we can support this legislation, and I want to thank him for his amendment, and we offer our support for it.
If there's no further debate on the amendment, the question is on its adoption. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. The majority of members having voted in the affirmative, the amendment is agreed to. If there's no further debate, is there any further debate? If there's no further debate on the amendment as amended by the Paul second-degree amendment, the question is on its adoption. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The majority of members having voted in the affirmative, the amendment is agreed to. Does any member wish to offer another amendment? Seeing no further amendments or debate, the question is now on final passage of S 3029 as amended. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Carper.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Hassan. Aye. Senator Sinema. Aye. Senator Rosen. Aye. Senator Ossoff. Aye. Senator Blumenthal. Aye. Senator Butler. Aye. Senator Paul.
Present.
Senator Johnson.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Langford. Senator Romney. Senator Scott. Senator Hawley.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Marshall.
No by proxy.
Senator Peters.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 10, the nays are 0. On the vote by proxy, and for the record, only the yeas are 3, the nays are 1. In this vote, the yeas are 10, the nays are 0, and the motion is agreed to.
Motion's agreed to, and we will now proceed to the consideration of S 3071. Does any member wish to offer an amendment?
We're on 3071 now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ranking Member Paul.
Paul Amendment 3 specifies that no additional funds shall be authorized to be appropriated for the purposes of carrying out S 3071.
So we will, we're now proceed, this is Amendment 3, the consideration of Paul Amendment 3 to S 3071. If there's no further debate, the question's on its adoption. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Majority of members having voted in the affirmative, the amendment is agreed to. Does any member wish to offer another amendment?
Yes.
Ranking Member Paul.
Paul Amendment 5 requires the Government Accountability Office to study the actual costs of management during a disaster declaration. This study will help determine whether the current set-aside amount is sufficient or needs reconsideration.
Is there any, we will now proceed to consideration of Paul Amendment 5 to S 3071. If there's no further debate on the amendment, the question is on its adoption. Those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Majority of members having voted in the affirmative, the amendment is agreed to. Does any member wish to offer an amendment? Seeing none and seeing no further debate, the question now is on final passage of S 3071 as amended. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Carper.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Hassan. Aye. Senator Sinema. Aye. Senator Rosen. Aye. Senator Ossoff. Senator Blumenthal. Senator Butler. Aye. Senator Paul.
Present.
Senator Johnson.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Langford. Aye. Senator Romney. Aye. Senator Scott. Aye. Senator Hawley.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Marshall.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Peters.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 10, the nays are 0. On the vote by proxy, and for the record only, the yeas are 4, the nays are 0. On this vote, the yeas are 10, the nays are 0, and the motion is agreed to.
Motion's agreed to. We will now proceed to the consideration of S 1258. Is there any debate on the question? Seeing no debate, the question is now on final passage of S 1258. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Carper.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Hassan. Aye. Senator Sinema. Aye. Senator Rosen. Aye. Senator Ossoff. Aye. Senator Blumenthal. Senator Butler. Aye. Senator Paul. Aye. Senator Johnson.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Langford. Aye. Senator Romney. Aye. Senator Scott. Aye. Senator Hawley.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Marshall.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Peters.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote, those present, the yeas are 11, the nays are 0. On the vote by proxy, and for the record only, the yeas are 4, the nays are 0. On this vote, the yeas are 11, the nays are 0, and the motion is agreed to.
The motion is agreed to. That concludes the legislation before us, but we're open to for any members who wish to speak. Senator Sinema.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to take a moment to thank Senators Hagerty, Padilla, and Hawley for joining with me, and for Senator Paul and his team for the work they did on our bill to honor civil servants who were killed in the line of duty. You know, back in 2012, the Office of Personnel Management highlighted the significant disparities across the federal government in the administration of the payment of how folks are compensated, families are compensated when someone dies in the line of duty. So this bill just gets us one step closer to righting that wrong. Families will be guaranteed a $100,000 gratuity payment and a funeral benefit of $8,800. So during a time of profound loss, this family should be focused on coming together and processing their loss, not worrying about bills. So I thank my colleagues for working with us to pass this legislation.
Thank you, Senator Sinema. Thank you for your leadership on an important piece of legislation. Any other members wish to speak? Seeing none, this business meeting is now adjourned.